And we are live. Welcome to The Contradiction, guys, with myself, Byron McDonald, and this beautiful Lithia McCann. As I say each week, Facebook is a private-owned interface. So if you do get logged off, just hop back onto the page and you will find a new link there. And we're also multi-streaming on various platforms. We would like you to comment and engage with us and share different perspectives. As this beautiful lady say each week, I want your comments. I want your comments. Come and give it to me. Let's start the show.
Hey, listen up. If you're lucky enough to fall in love with someone, I love you. Try not to ruin it by Googling them. Okay.
The Contradiction with Lithia McCann and Byron McDonald.
Just to make sure you don't forget what we look like.
So as I say each week, The Contradiction is about bringing different viewpoints together and allowing you, the viewer, the opportunity to comment and engage and share your viewpoint on the topic. So each week we get a new guest host with a new topic to discuss and contradict each other's viewpoints. So our guest host for tonight's show is an amazing couple from South Africa, and that is Sadika and Hermanth Fakir. Sarika and Hermanth met in 2006, and they based their relationship on God, food, and friendship, which I believe is definitely the winning combination. They have a fundamental belief that food not only sustains, but brings people together. The couple loves sharing different aspects of food, which they combine to showcase a cohesive celebration of North Indian cuisine. Sarika is the cook and stylist, and Hermanth is the curator and purveyor. Sarika also does ad hoc cook-along content for local television and shares her wonderful Indian cuisines on social media. Sarika and Hermanth believe that their passion for food is a story for the world to keep dreaming, keep pushing forward, and consistently dreaming of bigger and better. So without any further ado, let us go ahead and bring on Sadika and Hermanth.
Hey, guys.
Hi there. How are you?
Hello, world.
Good. So how have you guys been? What have you guys been up to?
We are chilling at the moment. You know, that's the only thing we can.
It looks very comfortable on that
We've
side.
I think the important thing is we've been chilling and we've been eating because it's a long weekend in South Africa. Ultimately, what Hermanth and I do a few days prior to a public holidays, what are we eating? We are obviously wearing very little clothing, very loose-fitting clothing, and what are we eating?
Yes.
So I think that is our biggest goal. As long as we are eating carb, we are eating a lot of indulgent Indian food, we are happy.
Yeah, if we're not
Nice.
cooking, we'll do some Indian takeouts from somewhere. So, just to keep us going. But normally we always tend to cook our own food, experiment, just to keep
That's
us
it.
going, keep our ingenuity alive.
Of
Nice.
course. And that's definitely the best way to connect is over a nice, flavorful, homemade hot meal. So, Sarika and Hermanth,
That's it.
you do know why we got you onto the show, especially because you
We do.
you are entrepreneurs yourself, having your own business. And the topic for this week, for tonight's show, is can life partners be business partners?
Whew, that's a difficult one.
Indeed, it is.
So, seeing that you are the guest, we would love to know what your take on this topic is.
Fantastic. So I think the important thing is, and again, we up for viewpoint. We believe that if God is our foundation, and we base a lot on our relationship with God, and again, biblical principle that God created man and woman of His own image, and ultimately their destinies fall part of that. We believe that certainly a man and a woman, or a life partner, or a relationship can certainly be the future to love and business. But we base everything on God's will for us. And I think the big idea is outside of God's will, what we've come to establish is that Hermanth will take away from me in my personal goals, and I would never take away from Hermanth in personal goals. But what keeps us going is that there's this common ground, that's this almost crossroad, that says there should be some couple goals where we strive to be the best that we can be, like yourselves, of course. And then what we do to keep ourselves sane is that Sadika has a bit of her personal goals and Hermanth has a bit of his goals. So I'm not going to encroach in Hermanth's obsession for cars. I love cars, but that's Hermanth's thing. But I love the intricacies of food and more detail than Hermanth, and that's a Sadika thing. So I think thing here is about a fine balance of following God's purpose in our principle, having some couple unified goals that are going to get us from this level to the next level, but then keep our individuality. And that's certainly been our methodology or our process to keep ourselves sane and in each other. Hermanth?
Yes, I think it gives us our space to work in.
That's
We work together with specific things, and then we also allow ourselves to grow in our own other personal interest. In that, and we basically do not clash, and we're not at loggerheads with each other, because we can't always be in each other's space. We also have to have individuality.
Exactly. I just think that's the end of the show. They've too much good points there. I don't think I can argue any. I'm joking. But on a serious note, I was, like I said, I was married before, and I owned events companies and businesses before with the previous partner of mine, and this is now a new partner, and we own a business together also. So it differentiates also with partners also. Like you said, there needs to be a common ground, I would say, where you have to understand each other. So how do you find that? How do you give the advice? Must the one be more dominant than the other? Must there be more of an understanding? How do you follow that?
Sure. So again, we follow that principle of biblical, that we do believe, and in our household, Hermanth is leader. He's the leader of the household. He is someone I submit to as a Christian woman. And I think that is critical. But it by no standards means that I am undermined in any way. So I think that the most thing is I was created of his rib. So which means I need to be his support. And that's something that I've been, and to Hermanth's detriment, probably his coach and his agonizer. So I think the important is we don't compete with each other for a status or a symbol of pride. And I think I personally believe pride is the killer here.
It is always the thing. That is where the foundation, the root of evil comes out from, or the root of arrogance, excellence comes out from.
And pride would end any form of business partnership, whether it's with partner or whether it's with any stranger. If I want to be accoladed over Hermanth and you're just here to get my stuff done, that's when it's going to fall. So we've had to call ourselves in. Hermanth, what drives your pride? Sadika, what drives your pride? And we're going to kill it. We're going to kill it. We're doing this. We're doing this, one, to follow a passion. We're following God's path. And the third thing is we are creating a platform to help this country. We want to help future foodies in this country, future entrepreneurs in this country. This has to be, and business has to be bigger than ourselves and our egos. And and I believe that businesses, and I think Hermanth, you believe in the same thing, businesses have to be in this country, not about the profit margin, about how do we help others achieve their goal and purpose.
It has to be a selfless, but just to add the part to it. So when people talk about whether you're a life partner, or just or just partners or married couples, when they go into business, yes, we talk the biblical principle that the man is the head and the woman submits, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are subservient in it, that you have to follow. Even in our household or in work, she has that in the decision-making skills or advice or whatever actions we need to take place. But there also has to be a boundary where she knows that, okay, in our understanding and philosophy, what we believe in and work with, there has to be still a slight hierarchical order, but it's not a dominant and overpowering. We need to have that balance and control, because everything is still underpinned. Whose ego is going to go the wrong way? Who become arrogant? Who's going to become? We have to subdue that.
That's it. And let us tell you the truth of the matter. So Hermanth is the entrepreneur, and I'm still in corporate. Okay. So what we our business model, Hermanth's going to push forward in our passion. In the present and toward the future, I'll join in. But in the interim, I'll strive forward in the corporate career to almost shield him, cover him, that he can push forward without being desperate for funding and. So he's building the right networks. He's got his time. He's also helping with the kids, whilst I'm focusing on corporate, which fundamentally means we're not actually contradicting with each other. Hermanth's paying forward to our future. I'm paying forward to the present. But I always declared that I married the billionaire, and we declare that over Hermanth. So we ultimately know that the business model for success is both of us can't give all in. I must be honest, because you've taken too much risk in the business. You've taken too much commercial risk. You've actually dropped your salary or your income. So what fundamentally needs to happen is you need to almost jigger on both sides of the fence. And we are blessed that Hermanth and I share a common passion for food. So Hermanth, you move on the food side. Let me focus on my corporate career. Let me focus on my studies and. But where we're going to meet common grounds is the next few years.
And what I take from her is that through her corporate experience and understanding, I take those lessons and incorporate into the. We have a structure that we can work on and build that foundation up there. So it's a give and take in everyone's way.
Love that.
I just love what Sarika also mentioned about knowing your why. Why is it that you are doing this? And I think that when you can understand why both of you are in this together and wanting to move forward together as a couple and as a partnership and as a team. And I think the problem can come in where people think about their own individuality within the business.
Yes.
You are an individual. You are an individual on your own, but however, with the business, it's about teamwork. There is something that a question that I actually would like to pose when it comes to, so the topic for today is, can life partners be business partners? But we're also aware that there are many family members that also share business together, not just life partners or married partners. And I've heard in many cases that there's always personal issues and personal emotions that comes into play or to the foreplay, and people don't know how to navigate through those personal emotions or the personal relationship that they have with each other. So that alone is a challenge, them learning to get to know each other through the relationship, and now bringing that relationship into the business side can be a bit challenging. What advice do you have? How do you separate your personal life from business life?
And I just wanted to tag onto that. You said something very important earlier also with regards to business, where you said you understand the hierarchy. Hermann mentioned the hierarchy, that there needs to be a hierarchy, and I agree totally with that.
Yes.
And people have too much pride, and you guys mentioned very, very important factors with pride, the ego, putting it at one side, all those things. And I want you still to answer a question, but also to tag onto that also. I want to understand, in the end of the day, how do you put that pride one side? How do you understand that you need to push one side to build forward in this world without making a profit? Because we all need to make a profit. I know you didn't mean it in that way, but also being previously disadvantaged so-called people in this country, especially living in a country that's not well developed mentally. How do we then navigate and communicate also with these people? Because it also does put a challenge on business partners, because then they have to be shrewd, because they're dealing with people who doesn't understand their level of thinking. How do you get across that barrier?
Sure. So it's going back to purpose, and it's really understanding the path. Hermanth, by all standards, has been the entrepreneur. I've almost been the strategist or the creative director in the business. So the first piece of advice is, please understand your role and be very honest with yourself. There cannot be too many cooks in the kitchen from a leadership perspective. Find me any blue chip, guys. Find me any blue chip in this world, not even in this country, South Africa, that has multiple CEOs. Find it to me, okay? The most successful businesses have one CEO, all right, and have a board of specialist strategists. I already knew where my strength lies. Hermanth is a passionate leader. I do not want to be that. So yes, I could have taken that and said, Hermanth, you step aside. It's me. It's about me. It wasn't. I have clearly stipulated my job spec in his business as he has stipulated his. But I also want to highlight something we've spoken to ourselves. Hermanth will never be the CEO of his business. The chairman and the CEO of the business is God. Okay. So when we make decisions like this, when we create our job spec, know that I will be his strategic and creative consultant. Hermanth will be the MD of our business. But we understood our role, we understood our strengths, we understood our weaknesses. Second piece of advice, we wrote these things down. We created a blank piece of paper and went, Sadika, what are your strengths? And we don't call it weaknesses, my apologies. We call it areas of growth. And I understood mine. But what are yours? And then where the areas of growth were that Hermanth had a strength in, we started doing the cross collaboration. So Hermanth shields me in my areas of weakness and vice versa. For example, I'm not kids, guys. I'm not. All right. I'm going to be absolutely honest to the world right now. Hermanth is brilliant with our kids. So I'm learning from Hermanth how to be a better parent. I'm a lot calmer than Hermanth. Okay. So what is Hermanth learning from me? How not to shout at people and swear them. Okay.
I think that's all women.
So I think the important thing here is you really have to do almost a workshop. You do not need to commission a coach or anyone. You can sit with a glass of wine on a Saturday afternoon, get some blank pieces of paper and go, what are my strengths and what are my areas of growth that my partner can cover or shield me on? And that's how we did our roles. Believe me, we haggled between ourselves. Who should be the CEO? All right, they should be our CEO because God is our chairman and CEO. We both agreed on this and we prayed it. All right. It looks fantastic if a black woman is the CEO, right? Mind you, I'm a blonde Indian, right? I don't know how that's...
Love it.
But and people are asking if this is my natural color. Can I say yes? It is.
That's good to you, man.
It is.
My charo ways are coming out, as you can see. But by next week, I think we need to do another interview after my hair's dyed again. So then I'm blonde. I'm back to blonde, right? But I think the important thing is we had to have an honest conversation with ourselves. It looks great. Is it the right thing to do? Hermanth has always dreamed to be the entrepreneur. I haven't. Hermanth is fantastic with bringing skills and talents together. I am strong on the other side to create the creative ideas. Hermanth is brilliant on ops and bringing it to life. Hermanth?
Yes, I think when we speak about partnerships and we have people are too afraid of being brutally honest and us getting the brutal honest answer. For me, you said I like to shout, scream. I'm straightforward. I can never. I'm not the one that can diplomacy and sprinkle the fairy dust on
But
things.
you've improved.
I've improved a bit, but I'm very straightforward, and that is where it needs to be. You need to be honest enough, and you must also be willing enough to hear the truth. And when you hear the truth, and that can work. That has to be the foundation: honesty and truth.
That's it.
Wow.
Okay, I can take it from there to the next level, to the next question, and the next question can work it. And then also has to be compromise.
That's it.
Oh,
Exactly.
Has to be a very important part to it.
I agree, because aren't we human and we all intolerable? We all have knacks, right? So we've had to learn compromise with each other. In some instances, Hermanth raises his voice. I will not hear you right now. If I am being, I am going to leave the room right now because you're being too OCD, and I am OCD. All right. So reaching, to Hermann's point, the level of compromise, but we've become better and better and better at it with the grace of God, of course.
lovely.
And we always, that's where the thing is. We have to take it back to where our foundation is. And our foundation is God, Word of God. Find inspiration and knowledge from there, and then in turn implement it into our life, into the decisions that we need to make.
Love that.
100%.
Love that.
The foundation of your relationship and your business is of utmost importance, because that is where you will bounce back from should anything, not fail, but should you be presented with any challenges. The foundation is what you remember. I just want to go to one of the comments where Silvio Snyder says, and he agrees with what both of you say, that life partners can be business partners, yes, just understand their roles and responsibilities, leadership and management.
And he also says, he goes on to add there, Sarika said it all, we can end the show right here.
and again, guys, aren't we here for practical examples? So what Hermanth and I have done is, we are so good in corporate, and again, I represent corporate, right? And Hermanth represents the hipster world of entrepreneurship, right? In food and creative content. The important thing here is, you have to create job specs, all right? So even your own business, go and Google, what does an MD of a company, of a creative agency does? So we know what Hermann's job spec is. What does a head of strategy do in a company like this? So our job specs are written. They may mean no pay slip at this point in time, all right? Mind you, we've designed our pay slip. We've designed our pay slip. Hermanth knows one day he will be offering me a position. All right. And we declared it. He is going to be poaching me out of corporate. Right.
I love it.
But he has designed, and we have designed our job specs. Do the job specs complement each other? Yes. Do they rub each other up a little bit? Because that is my job role in the business, to rub him up a little bit. But run, please design job specs if you're planning on going to business together, so it understands. Hold the paper up. We're not about emotion. I must be honest. You have to flick it out. Job spec. Hermanth, this is my job spec. It's meant to write strategy. If you're going to challenge you're challenging my skills, and I have these many years of experience. All right, Sadika, you have appointed me as the MD of the company. Are you going to challenge my leadership skills and my ops skills? Put it onto paper. Please design your job specs, because that removes emotion. At a company with my current title at a corporate, there's no way there's confusion and I'm going to encroach in anyone's space. So why can't we as business or small business owners use the same principles as corporate? It costs you nothing, but besides a blank piece of paper and some alignment on a Saturday over a glass of wine.
And we go back to that's why I said, what I learned from her and the corporate world that she brings about, we take that and we implement it and we fine tune it to what our needs are in the business and how we want to grow the business, and create that proper structure. That's why a lot of small businesses fail, because they do not have structure put into place. They do not have the roles and responsibilities, how they're going to do, when they're going to do, and when they want to implement something. Everyone just rushes willy-nilly.
That's it.
Here we're creating structure, and we want to make it as a blue chip corporate organization.
That's it.
Even it may be small, but it needs to have the structures in place, the support in place. So in order for us to then grow it and work it.
Exactly. And I just wanted to add on. I love what you guys are saying and why we're shaking our heads and agreeing, because I think we're in alignment with what you guys are saying. And one thing I see a lot of yourself in me, Sarika, because she will tell you. But what I do is, a lot of people say, "Aren't you scared in the field that you're?" I ask, "What field am I in?" Because I'm an innovative thinker and people don't understand what that means. I step into a job, you might not have the position, and I create my own position in your company. I find a gap. I see how your company can grow. And this is, you don't want to be called this, but we are salespeople. And that's the end of the day. We are salespeople because salespeople spot gaps and opportunity. That's what they do. They spot an opportunity, and that's what I do. I spot an opportunity, and I'm also a skilled salesperson. I'm not just a salesperson that's going to sell you an ad. I'm going to sell you my skills. I sell you myself when I do that. That's what people forget in the line of business. This is why we do the show. So relationships. You can't have no business without having a relationship with your customer, a relationship with your partner, a relationship with whoever is out there, your business partner, even if it's not your life partner. This is why a relationship is so important. This is how you can move forward. Now, my question comes in while we're on the topic about relationships and business partners, where I want to go to you all. You say the roles, responsibilities. Yes, we understand all those things. But how? You are going to employ people. You can employ maybe... And this sounds a bit weird, and temptations are out there in the world. Yes, you find this cook, she's brilliant, and you need an extra cook, but she's a good-looking woman, but you have to employ her. But she's really good-looking, and she's good for the business. She's not toxic, right? And she has nice manners, everything. And you know this is going to grow your business. A good-looking man also becomes a cook. He cooks with you. He comes into the business. This is things we need to talk about, because it's stuff that can be confronted.
Of course.
Like, say, for instance, I'm stage 4 cancer patient. She needs to go on with the show. This is our business. It's her business also. She might need a new co-host. And this is where you become involved and you go closely. You say relationship, even if it's just work. You understand? How do you overcome those things? I know pride. I know ego. I know you need to compromise, understand, trust. All those things come in. But yet, we are still human. How do we overcome those things?
So let's talk about carnal spirits, right? And again, we go, so grateful for the God we serve. We have dealt already. We've dealt the fact that adultery is common. The Lord has warned us. Know that the field you're in advertising and media. It's the most adulterous way or way of operating and the world of operating. So we are fully acknowledge that someone of good looks could come in. Absolutely. We do not survey or would never judge someone coming into our business one day by the look, by the spirit that they come in with. So know that we would survey someone from an interview process to understand, one, their values that they stand for. So it's not about beautiful people always being adulterous, but in some instances, sometimes the most fuggliest are actually the most adulterous. I've seen some hounds, right, in guys and girls, right? Some hounds. But sometimes guys, the ugliest are the most confident and the prettiest. Have you seen the hounds?
Let's talk about ugly also. What is ugly? I told you last night.
We said fugly.
Fairly ugly. Fugly.
I think beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, but I would say unattractive to the
beholder can be blind.
Sometimes the beholder has drunk too much wine and everything is right. So I think the most important thing is remove the emotion. If something is good, and here is where we remove the emotion, I must be honest. If something is going to be ratings, because we're in TV production and content production, let that person go in, but know that we are surveying you first on the values that you're coming in and your experience. If you try it money, I am fully reliant that we are spirit-led, one, and two, we would have picked up upfront that you're coming in with ill intention. If you come in with ill intention, we follow normal HR procedure. We have an HR consultant. ultimately, Hermann's business is a new business. We don't have permanent HR people, but we have some of the best HR people to consult us on how to get them out of the business. Again, guys, and I think this is where small businesses go wrong. I must be honest. You operate like a small mums and pop shop. Operate like a corporate. How would you? How would you deal sexual harassment in a blue chip 500 company in America or in South Africa? You would get their butts out, start operating in the mindset. Because how did Mark Zuckerberg operate Facebook from his garage? Like corporate in his head, right? So we should tolerate sexual harassment, adultery, sneaky behavior. If something is good for the business, and mind you, we come from a modeling background, if something's going to assist the ratings, by all means, but have the right intentions.
And we always will scrutinize, even as a small business, or even if you become a big corporate, you have to scrutinize the intentions. That is one of the quickest way you can see where the end result is going to be, or what the situation is going to be. So yes, there will always be temptation, but it is what's your values.
That's it.
Your individual values. And like again, we go back to things that, yes, people may think we are very staunch and we are into our system, but that is us. And this is where we draw strength and our values and our intentions from. We know what it is, the consequences, and where we want to be. You can never say, no, we take everything out of what's suitable for you, what's suitable for her. There has to be, needs to be hardcore, and it is hardcore for us. There's no compromise.
And I think I want to add as well, personal reputation is everything. So like you said, Lithia may have to continue without you or vice versa. Hermanth may continue without me or vice versa. Your reputation is everything. Never, ever think that you are led by a title, but know that you need to maneuver yourself outside of your title, your personal reputation. Who is Hermanth outside of a title, and who is Sadika? And ensure that you bring those values forward. So it's about really embedding values and ensuring that you don't encroach on it. You would never do harassment at a corporate. Why do it in a small business?
I love it. I love what they
and just the reputation. I mean, if you look at the outsurance guy, he was in media, and everybody, because of the fact that he's an entertainer and he's in media, it was blown out of proportion because he is in that field, he's in that line of work. So he needed to accept the responsibility of his actions and know that his reputation was at stake. I have a question with regards to time spent during being business partners. So when you are business partners, you of course spend a lot of time together as well, at home and in the business. And many a times, time that you spend to build the business can overlap in your personal time to build your relationship and to move your relationship forward. And I mean, if you look at COVID, during the time of COVID, statistics have shown that there's been about more than 20% higher rate with divorce rates because of COVID. And I suppose that could be because people started getting to know each other. They started spending much more time together. Frustrations might have, creeped in and so forth. So how do you manage time to build a business and setting time aside to build your relationship?
Sure. So I think the important thing is, let's go back to the basics. Hermanth and I are following a passion before a business. And I want to stipulate that. And I absolutely understand that we need to hire an HR practitioner. When we can, we will absolutely do so. But I think the important thing is we're following a passion, which means we're all in. So even if we're not making a single cent or a rand, that is our time together. That is building into our marriage and our future for our children, our legacy. So to be honest, any free moment that Hermanth and I have, we are spending toward building into this food passion, but we're doing it together. So our time may not involve a G-string and a bottle of champagne and some roses. Mind you, I hate flowers. He gets away like really cheap, by the way. I hate roses and I hate jewelry. All right. So the biggest thing here is that our romantic or our intimacy is about this business, is about this food and what food means to us. So any waking moment is about God and following his purpose and will for us. So we believe that we counted this whole thing of time because our romantic moments are, what are we cooking? What are we picturing? How are we shooting this? But can your hand be in here? or how are we shooting this video? What memory are we going to talk about? And here, this is the most intimate moment that Hermanth and I share with each other to share our passion.
And you also bring the part about our intimacy and time. Yes, there is time for that intimacy in the bedroom or just sitting and chilling. We do that. There is you have to manage your time. You know, for work, for her career, for with the children. We have to divide. Everything has to have its time and place, and you have to make the decision what's important for the day, what's important for this moment. Yes, like now we're sitting and we're talking to you guys. In the next hour or so, we'll be in bed. We'll sit, we'll chat. Yes, if you need to cuddle, we'll cuddle, or we'll put the kids to sleep. There has to be all those little things we put in. So we take that small tidbits to make the intimate moment. The small bits to when we want to discuss something, what we're going to cook tomorrow, or whatever the case is.
That's it. But I think there's a perception that romantic moments or intimate moments, they must last for 16 hours. Look, nobody has the time. So we advocate quickies, quick intimate moments, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's spiritual. Be short, sharp, be gone, because we must compress. So we say in some instances, the concentrate juice is better than the diluted. So let's not let carry on for a long period of time. If there's a problem, let's concentrate, let's move quickly. But if there's a romantic, in some instances, we understand that our romantic time together may actually only be 15 minutes and not 3 hours. But maybe we do have 2 hours to spend with each other and talk. So it's a matter of not falling into societal norm that every day must be Valentine's Day.
Yes.
It's not the case.
Just to give an example, we, at one point when Sadika was working in an agency, and it was it was almost like a 24-hour thing where she was basically engrossed in the sea. Her time was taken up there. Where could we spend time together just as a couple? Where could we speak about our plans? Where could we speak about what's going on in the household where she didn't spend much of the time, where I was running the business, doing my other business, having to worry about the kid, the nanny, cleaning the house, the dogs and all things there. So what I used to do, I should pick up and drop off from work. So in the time of traveling, we prayed, we spoke back and forth. So that was that 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour that we spent traveling together. That's when we did a lot of things. So you have to look at where your time management and manage your time properly.
That's it.
Love that.
And they would, just to go back onto your point, somebody said to us that we need to take a break. And this is just a personal example. We need to take a break from the show because we've been doing shows each and every week for the past year that we only took a break in December once, and we said to them, you know what, we love what we do. To us, it's not a job, it's a hobby, and it gives us time to spend together. It gives us time to connect, and we're doing something constructive that's going to build us to the future. Exactly. So for us, that is the best thing. I mean, we find the romantic moments in these little moments as well. We find the beauty in each moment. And like you said, people think that romantic moments should last for 16 hours. No, it's each moment here and there that you remember that actually has an impact on your mind and on your heart.
And I just wanted to add on, because I love everything you said, and everything falls in alignment with me. You need those spiritual belief.
Yes.
You need to compromise, put your ego one side, all these things, right? But it's hard work if you don't have faith. I'm saying that to a lot of people. And what I mean by faith is, a guy asked me now the other day, wow, you stage 4 cancer and you're still continuing with your businesses. And the one thing you hit on, Sadika, a lot of people nowadays, especially the youngsters, the millennials, the Gen Zs, whatever you want to call it, they keep on saying, reputation, don't worry, I don't care what people think about me, but it affects your mind, yourself. You might as well say it, but it does. Reputation is so important. Like you said now the other day, wow, you just pick up a phone, you can phone anyone and they open the door for you, but it's because of my reputation of what I've done. I take pride in my work. I don't leave with a bad reputation wherever I've worked. No matter if their business fell down the line, I did what I needed to do. I made a success of the part that I brought onto the business. Now, the point that I wanted to bring across, yes, all those pillars are amazing, But we live in a world, and we need to understand. And I'm sorry for the guests that I have to mute the mic sometimes because we have a back feed, and I love hearing back from people also, but we have to do it times. I've unmuted it now, so if there's some echo, so because I want the feedback and I want that feel and that vibe. So this is my question to all of you in the end of the day. To yourself also, you deal with a guy with stage 4 cancer. Yes, I deal with my own thing. I deal with my own illness, but and all those things. This is a obstacle that you have to face because it's mentally challenging for yourself, not just for myself. Now we're in business together. Sometimes I'm sick. Sometimes not good enough. Sometimes we can't do physical activities like going out and stuff like we would like to do because of my weaknesses. So here the compromise comes in. Now you need to understand, yes, you fall in love, you fall a certain way in love, but it can also mentally, subliminally break you down from behind. Faith. We talk about it, we say it. It's very important to understand. How do you convince someone that is even a believer? Because even believers don't have that faith. How do you convince them to understand? Because there was a question, as one guy said to me, no, not a question. He directed to his wife, not to us, and about his wife. He said, I don't let my wife control me. So I said to him, what are you talking about? I said, there's a difference between control and advice, because you'll be naive to not listen to your wife, for her to bring her strengths. You guys mentioned that before. So there's a lot of men that's egotistical out there saying, especially spiritual men and faith-driven men, woman is from my rib, she must respect me. I'm the man, she must respect me. I'm giving her love, she must respect me. So he doesn't listen to her because he belittles her. How do we push that barrier over to make them understand?
Okay, let me bring that part you spoke about, that respect.
Yes.
First, this will go out to all the men out there. God created man, and out of man's rib created woman. But respect is not given. Respect is earned. To the point, there is no nonsense about it. You cannot talk about, oh, this women have to respect me, they have to do this here. That is your ego and your pride talking. When we speak of what we are speaking here, this is exactly what we follow. There is no lie about us. We will tell you straight out to the point. When I say we talk, I bring up as an equal. So when if we deciding, for example, let's say we are buying a car. Yes, cars passion. She likes cars, but cars are my passion. And speak to her about it and say, we need to buy another car now. I think because the motor plan is expired, I think maybe we should actually look at it. This is what my points are. What do you think? That is an equality role. It's not just a one-sided thing that, okay, I'm going to go buy a car. She just has to accept it. She can tell me, no, I don't like this brand because X, Y, and Z. Here's the compromise here of the costing. What are the pros and cons about it? That is equality. We bring it together. Respect is the most important thing, is that it is earned. You can't expect your wife to respect you when you don't give her that respect.
That's it. And I think we also need to understand we're in a culture of mirror imaging our elders. Okay. So we come from a culture where it was that the guy was always right, or our dads were always right, and the women just were there to dish out food, right? And submit consistently. I think the understanding of submission biblically versus what we experienced as growing up were two different things. So I think we also need to understand what baggage we carry from particularly our parents and start breaking those demons within ourselves. I believe we carry a lot of the issues. And Byron, you must read The Journey by Brandon Bass. Stage 4, she healed herself because of the whole concept of holding emotional baggage. That's something that Hermanth and I, and being a journey coach, that's where I came from. And I met Hermanth. And the funny thing is, we've both been on the journey together. So what you really need to do is get to those emotional demons. What have you carried from your upbringing? Have you carried the fact that in some instances in Indian households, please note that the mom is more domineering than the dad. The dad is actually the one. Indian moms, guys, yo.
She was engaged to an Indian guy.
Shame. Run.
I did. I did.
So well done. Well done. So I think we need to understand what, and this is a personal exercise. What emotions have you brought from your parents and your siblings? And what do you need to heal from? In some instances, it was you were never good enough for your parents. So that means ultimately your partner's going to be good enough for you. What have you mirrored from your parents and your past that ultimately you're taking out on your partner? That is an exercise. Went on for 2 years of our dating. We used to sit in parks and I used to take him through the journey. And I go, we are preventing a possible health issue. We are preventing a possible cancer. All right. That sits with what are you holding that you need to heal from emotionally and physically?
It is the emotion that basically that holds you down.
That's it. So we need, outside of understanding pride, what have you carried from your parents or your aunties or your uncles that is actual BS that you need to get over, because we cannot take their word as gospel.
Yes.
Because in some instances, we fear those elder than us because our culture tells us you must, because they're your elders. Respect, as Hermann said, is earned, and you should be aligned to the way God works. So we really need to understand the past and what baggage we've carried.
So because all those little intricacies, ultimately at the end of the day, when you bring it into a business or you bring it into your personal life, create an impact there. So that's why it is always a self journey, trying to understand yourself and what do you need to, because sometimes you can witness something. So if a child witnesses the father abusing the mother abusing the father, whether it's physically, verbally, that impression, it is embedded in them, and they think that is the norm. And to then go, when they grow up, will do the same thing and think that is normal. It is normal. That's why we have to always look inside. What is right?
Yeah.
And that's where we come from. What do we need to improve on? What do we need to let go of? What do we need to correct us? And people's pride tells us we do not need to correct ourselves. We are always right. No, pride cut down to say, what do I need to improve on? What do I need to rectify in myself in order to bring out, not only into the relationship, but into work, but into society? And I think that is the fundamental point there. Society tells us, look everywhere else but inside ourselves. We need to stop listening to society too much.
Exactly.
You're preaching like I preach. I love what you're saying, and we come close to the end of the show, and this is how it goes so quickly when you start getting into it. And we even neglected some of the comments
that came in.
because it was so powerful.
So informative. All the
But
everything that you are sharing.
it's actually more comments that agrees. So that's the wonderful side of it. It's one of those rare shows where no one differs from what we're saying. So we'll go to the one comment or say I love it because she's learned from you guys.
So Christy says, the thing I love and admire about Sadika and Hermanth is their faith in each other and God. Sadika once told me that anything she does or goes into, she does it with the utmost faith, no matter what. For me, that has been the biggest inspiration and the key to success that I've drawn from them.
And that's powerful.
Wonderful.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
And then Marcy McCann says, create an intention for each day in every department of your life, business, children, marriage,
That's
etc.
it.
And
Yes.
Be intentional.
Sylvia just goes on, keep it moving. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, listening all the way from Switzerland. Let's just quickly scan through the last little bit. And then is that
I don't want to listen to complaints all night long. Let's discuss strategies and resolve.
That's it.
Love that.
That's it.
Love that.
okay? So
And then we
and
have
then
one
Alison
more.
also says, I agree with ego.
And then Judith says, love and respect. Women should speak a man's love language, which is respect,
That's
and a woman's love language is love.
Okay, and then just take one from Marcius again.
So Marcy said, most people don't like to reflect on those limiting beliefs and not to let go or heal because of the ego. So I actually just
Yes.
want to tackle that point. And what
Yes.
you mentioned, to acknowledge what it is, your shortcomings, and what it is that you need to improve on. So I think that is the beginning of all transformation. But in many cases, you have people that acknowledge what it is that they need to work on, but they're not putting in the steps, or they're not putting in the work to actually improve on those areas within themselves. What advice do you have for people for the process of healing those wounds that they need to?
So the first thing you can do is a very intimate exercise, and this is something that Hermanth and myself have done, and it's a piece of advice we give all of our mentees. Is you've got to write a letter to your nemesis, or all of your nemesis. All right, you've got to write a letter of how they hurt you, how they broke you, how they made you feel the way that they made you feel. You're not sending that letter to anyone. You are going to write it, and you're going to burn it, and you're going to release it. So the first art of self-realization of your nemesis and what is your stage 4, Byron, to your point, what is your stage 4? And that's the question. Whether it's cancer, whether it is depression, what is stage 4? Okay, what is that tipping point that has hurt you and into it? Write that letter and write it with those tears. That the ink should be blotting with those tears that are falling, right? So the first thing you do is a very exercise, okay? It will break you because, mind you, it broke Hermanth and myself when we had to admit who our nemesis were.
Wow.
In some instances, those closest to you, all right? Who you assume that were there, shielding you, protecting you, okay? The next level of that letter writing, and you've burnt it and released it, is ultimately you've got to find yourself some coaching, all right? You've got to find yourself a mentor, and this is where it often gets so confusing. Apparently, you can't be a coach if you don't have enough experience. BS, all right? Anyone can be a coach, okay? All right? So I always find, and Christy's here because I work with Christy, right? And Christabel is I love you lots. I work with her from a coaching perspective, and I've challenged her. I said, I don't care if you only have 1 year, 2 year, 3 year experience. Anyone can be a coach. If you have something to teach, anyone can be a coach. Okay. So often we go, I can't get a coach because I can't get the CEO of a company. BS. That's an excuse. Find anyone who is willing to listen to you that is in your circle of growth. So ultimately, the first step is do the inward letter writing and the burning and admitting where someone has hurt you. You do not need to approach the person. Don't put yourself through that. In some instances, people in an abusive relationship never want to hear. The second level is, how do I find someone who has been abused, for example, by their parents or siblings, all right? Or someone who has side hustled in a relationship, and find that type of mentor to put into my circle to start empowering me and filling those gaps.
Yeah,
love
I
it.
think the biggest question, and I think what you ask anyone, what are you afraid of that you don't want to move? What are you afraid of that you don't want? What do you have to lose?
Love
You know what? If you ask a person, can you assist me? Can you give me some guidance? And what do you have to lose? Nothing. It's sometimes people also, their pride holds them back.
That's it. And the opposite of pride is humility.
Yes.
So what you learn to become business partners, what you learn to be successful in your own right, whether you choose to be a business partner with your loved one or not, ultimately lies in how might I cut my pride? How might I be the humble leader I strive to be? And then again, I go back, and sorry to preach, right? And one day I think I'm going to be on a pulpit with Hermanth. It's servant leadership, and it's a principle we're hearing. Every freaking mentorship coach talking about. It's in the Bible, guys. It's servant leadership. You have to submit to those that look up to you and serve them. So serve your husband, serve your wife, serve those who look up to you, serve this platform. That's what we're doing right now, so we can change the lives together, the 4 of us, of the rest of the world. So ultimately, submission and humility to counter the evilness and the poison of pride. Ultimately, you're going to start hearing and listening.
Love that.
One of the biggest things, one of the other things that I need to just land on this here is that if you make a difference, make a change, and you're willing to make the difference in your own life, what are you to others? How are you going to be an inspiration to others?
Exactly.
Well, other people look up to you and say, wow, look at this person. They did this, they did that. And they'll come to you. How did you do it? Then with experience and knowledge that you have gained, you can impart that and say, this is what I've done. If you want to grow and you want to do this here, because a lot of people talk about things, but they don't do it.
That's it.
I love it.
Love everything that both of you just shared with us. So much value. I can't contradict anything that you just said.
Not even about contradict.
Yes, I am in agreement. I'm in alignment with each and everything that you've
Because
shared.
it's the way we live, and this is why I smile all the way through. It's the way we live, and you find people in alignment with you, and this is what you guys have brought to us, and why I smile with my heart open is with the key words you put: faith. You put your ego one side, and that main thing you said, to give
Serve.
back, to serve. I always say you can't receive if you don't give, because if your hands are full, how can you take more?
Exactly.
So you need to
Yes.
learn to give to receive again, and this is the main aim that you guys have been speaking about. But guys, we've come to the end of the show, and it goes so quick, and it's really wonderful to have you guys on. What we do at the end of the show is we just ask for value from you guys. It does not need to be around the topic. You can preach to them. Lathia always knocks me. Don't give people time limit. I don't care. We just cut your speech out because you anyway speak a lot. So we're giving you guys a chance. If you're gonna go individually, you can, or together. It's up to you. So we're gonna put you on the screen. Whatever value you want to share. You know, people are going through COVID. It's difficult, losing jobs, losing businesses, going mental, starving. So you guys are on the screen. I'm gonna put you there.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes.
We are truly humbled by this opportunity. And I
Indeed.
think the value that we want to speak about is you have a purpose. You are unique. You have a unique purpose. You have a unique path. You must start reflecting, what am I good at? What are my gifts? Because you have been God created. You have a unique gift from God. Someone sitting out there listening has a creative skill that they've not used. Someone's listening to us right now has a gift of leadership that you've not delved into because you are under the spirit of fear. So I think the critical thing is, who am I? What are my strengths? What are my values? And I challenge you that your plans are still too small for yourself. What are the plans that are not just going to serve your bottom line or your pay slip or your debit orders, but what are the big plans that are going to shift and change the world? What are going to be the plans that are going to empower more than just one? And that's that coefficient I talk of 10. How are you going to empower 10 people times 10 times 10?
I think, yes, you have to admit that to yourself, that I need help. Where must I look for help? And go out there. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain. And I think that's the most important thing, that we need to see how we can gain and how we can be an inspiration to others. So in healing ourselves, we will be able to heal others as well. And that's what this world needs.
Yeah.
And I think we have to always be honest with ourselves, honest with our demons, and say, I'm not afraid of you, and I am going to conquer you.
That's it.
And I will win.
That's it.
The positive affirmation that you use builds in your mind and in your heart, and then take it forward.
And then I challenge everyone listening, please go and update your LinkedIn profile. You're underselling yourself, first and foremost. So what's your personal brand? And please worry about what you are posting on social media. Social media is not the evil thing. It's the content that you're consuming. Stop consuming the BS, right? Stop consuming the BS in your life. I challenge you to detox off the negativity and start just filling yourself like a buffet of spirituality and purpose and love, and do that. And I challenge every listener today, you have 24 hours to do this. Go and challenge yourself to really consume more of what is good for you than what is bad. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not beauty enough. I'm not rich enough. Go and consume what is good for you.
And one more thing I'll add. Don't lead this conversation only in your head, because you know what? It can get muddled up. If you want to put something right, start putting it down on paper. That is how you manifest and create, because when you see it, it will not change because you have written it down. In our mind, we always change things with what we see, and it will always shift. We want to see concrete proof by writing. When we write, we manifest.
Wonderful.
Some people saying, no, don't end the show, but you have to end it. It goes on TV.
And Judith said, no one can top that.
No one can top that, yeah.
And Crystal says, this is an amazing show, guys. Just love this.
You
So
love it.
the viewers
It is an
definitely
amazing
all the value that you shared here tonight.
And the replay will probably catch a nice replay on all the
Definitely.
platforms. But despite that, guys, thank you so much for sharing value.
No, thank you so much.
That's what we want. So I don't know if you have 30 seconds for us after the show. We're just going to end it. And we just want to thank you again off air, just to say thank you, because this is how we learn every week from people. We are so open-minded to learn from others, not naive to think we know it all. But Sarika, something you said, and it's something that I push out, then stop consuming negativity. Everything can be negative. It depends how you use it.
Exactly.
But guys,
Yes.
you can say goodbye. We're gonna have to end it, unfortunately, now. Hopefully, have you on in the future for that topic. Stop consuming negativity.
Ooh, definitely.
I
Yes,
think so.
definitely. I think it is a powerful topic to talk about. I think it is.
Very.
We need to be more impactful in the content that we push out to people.
And intentional.
And intentional, yes.
Exactly.
Thank you so
Sarika
much.
and Hermanth,
Really honored.
thank you so much for giving up your time also and sharing your time with us here tonight and with the viewers. We will catch you just in a few minutes while we're in the show. You can say bye to the viewers.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Wow, that was powerful. That
Excellent.
was powerful.
So informative and so enlightful.
Yeah,
Insightful. Am I saying the
insightful
word?
and insightful. How do you want to feel? The thing is this: what they've done, they've given you so much pillars. So go back if you're only catching it now. Watch the replay, share it out, whatever you need to do, because this is the information you need to take forward with yourself. Also, it's not just about building a business; it's about the pillars of your own life that they were speaking about. And this is what you need to move forward. I can't repeat this as many times. It's in line with what we do, as why we do this show, as why I do what I do, is why she does what she does, is to enlighten you and to inspire you to know what Sarika said, something that's in line with me that I preach every day. You have a purpose. My way of saying it is you are your purpose. So be your purpose, love your purpose, and this beautiful lady is going to end the show because you would like her to say goodbye instead of me. So
thank you to all the viewers for tuning in and commenting and engaging. Do join us next week, Sunday, same time, same place. And if you feel that you've gained value from the show, or anybody within your circle that might gain value from the show, please go ahead and like and share this video and like and share our page.
And catch
for
us on
future
263 or
content.
so if you're in Cape Town.
Do also catch the replay on DSTV 263. Have a beautiful evening. We love you and